Liverpool makes $47 million Marc Guehi approach as Reds close in on summer signing. The Reds have pursued the Crystal Palace captain all summer, but have not formalized that interest prior to the final weekend of the summer window. Liverpool has reportedly made an official proposal to sign Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace. The defender has been a target for the Reds all summer, but prior to this weekend, Liverpool has not firmed up that interest with a formal offer. The Athletic claims that has now changed, with the Premier League champions submitting a flat bid of £35 million, $47 million, for the England international. That would mean no add-ons, as was the case with the arrival of Milos Kerkez earlier this window. The report adds that Guehi is open to moving if the clubs reach an agreement, although Palace is yet to respond to Liverpool's offer at this stage. Liverpool.com reported earlier this week that Liverpool retained interest in the Palace captain, with an approach expected before the window shuts. Meanwhile, the Eagles have been on the lookout for new additions in the market and made contact with Manchester City this week regarding a possible move for Manuel Akanji. Liverpool may finally be closing in on a deal for Marc Guehi. Palace has also been linked with a move for Toulouse's JD Canvo and the Roma defender Evan Ndicka. Joe Gomez has even been mooted as a possible make-weight in a potential Guehi deal. However, sources have indicated a loan move is not possible at this stage of the window, while it would take an incredible offer to tempt the Reds to sell. He is one of 4 center-backs currently on Liverpool's books, along with Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Giovanni Leoni. Given the latter is inexperienced at Premier League level, Gomez has struggled with injuries, and Konate's form has been a concern in the early weeks of the season. Interest in Guehi has remained into the final days of the summer window. Liverpool is unlikely to sanction the departure of Joe Gomez before the transfer window shuts. He has been a target throughout the summer, with reports claiming any transfer has been held up due to Liverpool's reluctance to match Palace's valuation. With just 2 days remaining in the market, a compromise will need to be found by one or both parties. Guehi has played the full 90 minutes in all 5 of Palace's games this season, but his participation in Sunday's trip to Aston Villa is clearly now in doubt. Typically, he does match the age profile Liverpool tends to look for in a center-back, but he is seen as a unique market opportunity, with the Reds able to land an England international for a relatively cut-down fee. Guehi has a year left on his current contract at Selhurst Park, and it's believed he has no plans to sign a new deal. Chairman Steve Parish said earlier this month that Palace would not be in a position to lose the player for free next summer. Newcastle confirmed transfer decision as Liverpool primed for Alexander Isak move. Latest Liverpool transfer news as Newcastle completes signing of Nick Woltemade amid Alexander Isak saga. The door could be open for Alexander Isak's exit after Newcastle completed a move for Nick Woltemade. Liverpool have been handed a fresh boost in their pursuit of one-away striker Alexander Isak, as Newcastle United confirmed the signing of Nick Woltemade from VfB Stuttgart. The Magpies have landed their first attacking signing since Anthony Elanga, ending their summer-long pursuit of reinforcements. Eddie Howe's side have struggled during the transfer window, missing out on Joao Pedro, Hugo Ekitike, and Benjamin Sesko, who turned down a move to the northeast in favor of other teams in the Premier League. Newcastle have, though, beaten Bayern Munich to the signing of the 23-year-old with the fee in the region of £65 million. It marks the latest twist in Isak's transfer saga after the one-away striker doubled down on his intention to leave the Magpies following Liverpool interest. Throughout the summer, Newcastle were said to require 2 attacking additions before contemplating the sale of the Swede. In signing Woltemade, they not only have broken their transfer record previously set by signing 25-year-old Isak, but opened the door to Liverpool signing the forward. Magpies boss Howe said, "We're delighted to get Nick's signing over the line so quickly. He fits the profile for exactly what we have been looking to add to our attacking options. He's strong in a lot of areas. He has great technical ability and has proven himself to be a real threat in one of Europe's top leagues, but he's also still at an age where he has plenty of room to develop and grow here. Nick is a great character too, and we're really pleased to welcome him to the group." Should Arne Slot's side acquire the Sweden international, the deal is likely to exceed the British record, despite reports claiming that Liverpool are unlikely to meet Newcastle's £150 million price tag. Ito. The Times reported earlier this week that the Reds' free run at the Talisman will see Liverpool remain firm on spending £120 million for his services. It was claimed in the Daily Mail on Friday that it is looking increasingly likely that Isak will make the move to Anfield. Newcastle set to land Liverpool. £130 million. Offer for Alex expected to help Newcastle United get rid of disgruntled Alexander Isak by submitting a new, improved £130 million bid for the Wanaway striker before Monday's transfer deadline, according to The Telegraph. The Premier League champions had a £110 million offer rejected earlier this month, but Newcastle's agreement with Stuttgart for German striker Nick Woltemade has encouraged Liverpool to return with an improved offer. Eddie Howe's side will pay close to £70 million for the 23-year-old, who scored 17 goals in the Bundesliga last season and is also expected to keep pushing for one of Brentford's Johan Wissa or Wolves' Jurgen Strand Larsen. Newcastle have reportedly valued Isak at £150 million and remain firm that their preference is to keep him. But the Sweden international has gone on strike and continues to train away from the first team, and the additions of Woltemade and Wissa Jurgen would definitely open the door in full for his exit. Isak, who scored 27 goals last season, has publicly accused the club of breaking promises over his future. Howe, however, rejected suggestions that he, or anyone else at the club, told Isak he could leave once a replacement was signed. Absolutely not, Howe said. I never make promises to any players regarding transfers, because ultimately I'm not in control of the whole thing. Manchester United. Sacked 2 managers in 24 hours. 2 Manchester United alumni axed in 24 hours as Ruben Amorim faces rising pressure. In what feels like a dramatic double act of managerial misfortune, Jose Mourinho has been relieved of his duties at Fenerbahce after a mere 14 months. His exit precipitated by the Turkish club's failure to secure Champions League qualification. Meanwhile, Ruben Amorim at Manchester United endures a season-opening wobble that has fans nervously watching, especially after an embarrassing cup defeat. Mourinho's dismissal came in the wake of a 1-0 aggregate loss to Benfica in the Champions League playoffs, a defeat that now reroutes Fenerbahce to the Europa League. The first leg in Istanbul had offered hope with a goalless stalemate, but the Portuguese tactician's side faltered in Portugal, leaving them consigned to Europe's secondary stage. Since arriving in June 2024, Mourinho guided Fenerbahce to victory in 37 of 62 matches, taking the club to a runner-up finish in the Turkish Super League. Yet European aspirations remained unfulfilled, with the Europa League campaign ending in the last 16 and a Turkish Cup quarter-final exit offering little consolation. Fenerbahce issued a statement acknowledging Mourinho's contribution. Our professional football first team's technical director, Jose Mourinho, who has been carrying out his duties starting from the 2024 to 2025 season, has parted ways with us. We thank him for his efforts for our team until today and wish him success in his future career. The timing was striking. Only 2 domestic matches into the new season, with Fenerbahce languishing in 7th after a win and a draw. True to form, Mourinho's tenure in Istanbul was punctuated by controversy, his personality and pronouncements as newsworthy as his tactics. The 62-year-old's departure follows a familiar pattern, echoing the recent sacking of fellow ex-Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Besiktas. 2 former Red Devils bosses dismissed in the span of 24 hours, a curious coincidence that football fans can't ignore. Mourinho, briefly linked with a return to England at Nottingham Forest amid a fraught relationship between manager Nuno Espirito Santo and the club's owner, reflected philosophically on the defeat to Benfica. It is a club that knows this type of game, and obviously there is sadness in not being able to do it. But for me, I am aware that we lost against a team that is better than us. We had chances, but then we were reduced to 10 men, and the game was over. Overall, the better team went through. Across the continent, Ruben Amorim's situation at Manchester United has drawn similarly sharp attention. After his side's humbling exit at the hands of 4th-tier Grimsby in the Carabao Cup, the Portuguese coach admitted the severity of the wake-up call. I think this is a little bit the limit. Something has to change. The team and the players spoke really loud today. The best team won, the only team that was on the pitch. It's really clear what happened today. We start the game without any intensity, completely lost. Right now, we need to focus on the weekend, and then there's time to think. If football were cinema, these 48 hours would play like a montage of pride, hubris, and the cold inevitability of managerial reckoning. Two men who once graced Old Trafford, now navigating the unforgiving scrutiny of modern football. The stage is set, and Ruben Amorim's next act promises to be every bit as tense. Liverpool transfer news. Alexander Isak boosts for Reds as Newcastle agree fee for striker. Liverpool are running out of time to get deals over the line before the summer transfer window slams shut, but have been handed a massive boost in their pursuit of Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak is desperate to join Liverpool. Liverpool are preparing to take on Arsenal in a massive Premier League showdown on Sunday afternoon. But the transfer rumor mill continues to churn as Monday evening's summer window deadline looms. Alexander Isak's situation will be resolved before he joins up with Sweden for international duty next week, though it remains uncertain whether he'll still be at Newcastle come 7 p.m. on Monday, despite his efforts to engineer an exit. But there's been a huge twist in the saga that could pave the way for the goal machine to join the Premier League champions. And there's still the possibility of a last-minute deal for Crystal Palace center-back Marc Guehi as well, although this largely hinges on how the Eagles get on in their quest to find a replacement for their captain. Here's all the latest transfer news from Anfield, as Arne Slot looks to assemble a squad capable of winning a record-breaking 21st top-flight title and a 7th European Cup. Isak deal unlocked. Nick Woltemade is one of Europe's most talented young strikers. Newcastle are set to break their transfer record and finally sign a striker this summer, after agreeing a £70 million fee with Stuttgart to sign German forward Nick Woltemade. The deal could prove to be a major turning point in the saga involving Isak, who's refused to play after being denied his dream move to Liverpool, but may now be allowed to leave the club. Woltemade, 23, has been heavily linked with a move to Bayern Munich throughout the summer after an impressive campaign with Germany at the Under-21 European Championship and bagging 17 goals for Stuttgart last term. Newcastle have been rejected by multiple attacking options this summer, including Hugo Ekitike, who preferred Liverpool, and Benjamin Sesko and Brian Mbeumo, who both chose Manchester United. Isak, but they may have eventually landed a talented prospect to fill Isak's shoes if he departs in the coming days. It's believed Newcastle have struck a deal worth £65 million plus around £4.5 million in add-ons, which would make Woltemade the most expensive player in their history, topping Isak, who cost £63 million in 2022. Isak to speak out. Alexander Isak may finally get his wish. Alexander Isak may be poised to share his perspective on his refusal to turn out for Newcastle and his push for a switch to Liverpool, reports the Mirror. Isak is eager to join the Reds and hopes an agreement can be struck before the transfer window shuts. The 25-year-old ended his silence on the matter last week, issuing a statement claiming Newcastle had reneged on commitments made to him. He said, "I've kept quiet for a long time, while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time." Isak has been selected for the Sweden squad for their forthcoming World Cup qualifiers against Slovenia and Kosovo, and according to the Newcastle Chronicle, he's been requested by the Swedish FA to handle press duties. Guehi dilemma. Marc Guehi has just a year left on his Crystal Palace deal. Crystal Palace are bracing themselves for life without Marc Guehi by scouring the transfer market for potential replacements for their skipper. With Guehi in the final year of his contract at Palace, the club recognizes the need to cash in now or face the prospect of losing him for free in a year's time.